Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be having a look at these great ABB teams that I've created and used for 2 battles each in the Great League. So here are all the Pokemon that I'm going to be using. So into the first match. This battle has Shadow Gyarados, Quagsire and Swampert. I'm going to immediately safe switch into Quagsire, and the opponent states in to throw a few Incinerates and send in a Azumarill. Now we can hit pretty hard back with these Stone Edges, and the opponent's going to fire off their move, but nothing from the opponent can KO here. They're going to fire off the player off, that doesn't KO, and now I'm going to fire off the Stone Edge after 1 Mud Shot for correct timing. Stone Edge will do some very decent damage, and I'm going to go straight for the next Aqua Tail, also on good timing, which is 4 Mud Shots. Aqua Tail doesn't quite grab the KO, but 2 more Mud Shots does, and just with that we'll flip switch, and we're able to make a Aqua Tail up against the Typhlosion. I'm going to aggressively switch into Swampert, not wanting to give him farm. I sort of call a bait here. The Blast Burn lands though, which is quite unfortunate, but we're able to fire off a Hydro Cannon, and this will be grabbing a shield from the Typhlosion. I'm just going to let the next move through. They do go for the Thunder Punch, even though it's resisted, it'll still grab the KO. And I'm going to send in the Gyarados and go for the one-shot farm down. In the back, it's Talonflame, and this game is over, as we can overfarm just to be safe. But then I'm going to fire off the Aqua Tail, and that is going to grab the KO, and that's a GG's. Into the next match, we see a terrible lead, Gyarados into Azu. They absolutely destroy us because our Dragon Breath is super resisted, and Aqua Tail and Crunch don't do that much. Opponent is just going to be staying in against my Quagsire safe switch, which tells me that they're weak in the back, which is good for my Swampert as well as my Gyarados. I'm going to continue to fire off these Stone Edges here. That Stone Edge is almost going to KO, and I'm going to make the next Aqua Tail on the CMP tie, which is very, very nice. Aqua Tail is going to actually be shielded. The opponent's going to go for the Ice Beam, and that's completely fine with me, as I can just send in Gyarados and get a very nice double resisted farm down. Opponent is going to send in Morpeko, and this is pretty bad. It's actually fine, as I'm going to stay in and go for the Aqua Tail. The opponent no shields that, actually. So we're able to, I'm going to switch into the Swampert, shield up the Aqua Tail. Aura Will, the opponent sends in Talonflame, and that's a GG's, as Swampert destroys him. In the next match, I've replaced Swampert with Whiscash and Gyarados with Shadow Pidgeot. We see a pretty bad lead in, actually no, not a bad lead into Clodsire, but 2 better responses in the back, so I'm going to safe switch into Whiscash, which is running Blizzard. Opponent responds with Gastrodon, and that's actually fine. Gastrodon got a no-shield Scald, and the opponent sends in for Alligator. We will barely be able to make it to the Scald, which is very good, as now that forces a shield from the opponent. I'm going to send in Pidgeot, and the opponent is going to be able to make it to a move. They do actually throw an alignment, which is very good for us, as we get a full free Gust in. I'm going to overfarm, bank an Aerial Ace, and send in Quagsire. Quagsire will have to respect the Earthquake. I usually do like shooting the first one, as they're less likely to bait. Now I'm going to go for the Aqua Tail, and the opponent is probably going to no-shield both of these, as for Alligator probably needs these shields more. 2 Aqua Tails is going to grab the KO, and they send in for Alligator. I'm going to go for the Aqua Tail just to get a shield as a wood KO, but we've got that Aerial Ace banked. I'm going to fire off the Aqua Tail number 1, that's going to grab the shield, and I'm going to send in Pidgeot and Snipe with the Aerial Ace, and that's another GG's. If the opponent, I think it looks like they force close the app, that's completely fine, as we can take that win. In the next match, I'm using this didn't actually work as well as I'd liked, but we see a really, really bad lead, Magnezone into Diggersby. I safe switch into Machamp, and the opponent is going to shield up the Cross Chop. They're going to fire off a move. It's probably a bait, but I shoot it up anyway, as it would do a lot of damage anyway. I'm going to fire off the Cross Chop on the CMP tie, which is also a bait, because I did farm up to a Stone Edge. The bait does grab the shield. No reason to shield. Aqua Tail is not going to do the job and grab the KO, but we're barely able to make it to the Stone Edge and live on 1 HP, which is going to take out the Drapion. Opponent's going to send in Diggersby, but we've got 2 fighting types, so I send in Primate. The opponent is going to fire off a move. I'm just going to call it's the Scorching Sands. It is, and I'm going to overfarm quite a bit more and go for the close combat. I know it's unnecessary, I don't really care. Ice Punch would have definitely done the job here. Opponent has Swampert in the back, and this is a GG's, as we can easily one-shot Swampert with the close combat, and that's going to be all she wrote. In the next match, we see the Dream lead Togetic into Guzzlord. Toxapex comes in, and we've got another perfect response with Togedemaru. This is an intentional bait here. Opponent does go for the Brown, that's completely fine. I'm going to farm up to the double Wild Charge, and intentionally, it's not even I don't want them to call it, it's just I want them to no shield. It's completely fine. Opponent actually ends up shielding the next one, which is really fortunate, as I'm not even going to bother going for the Wild Charge now. I'm just going to fire off the Fell Stinger. Doesn't really matter. Now the opponent's going to fire off a move. I don't want to risk getting KO'd, so I am going to shield the Sludge Wave up. Yeah, when I was playing these battles, I was very baffled as to why they did that. It's very random. Don't go for a Sludge Wave against a Steel type. Brian is much better. Opponent sends a Dugong, and I overfarm and go for the Wild Charge. I'm very surprised they bought this in instead of the Guzzlord, as they would pretty much get one-shot by a Wild Charge, literally get one-shot. Unfortunately, we only make it to a Fell Stinger, but I can just bring in Morpeko. This is an obvious bait, but I don't know. It's completely fine, as I would use that shield anyway. Another obvious catch, but I wasn't sure. Not the best plays for me so far. I'm going to bank as much energy as I can and send in Togetic. I know the opponent will probably have Sludge Bomb, but that's not going to KO, and I'm actually going to let myself get KO'd. I'm going to wait and not throw my energy, and only throw after they've actually gotten the move. Brutal Swing is going to grab the KO, but I don't want to risk anything, so I go for the full farm down, and now I leave with an Aura Wheel loaded to KO the Dugong, and that's another good game. Into the next match, we see a pretty neutral lead in Talonflame, but 2 better responses in the back, so I'm going to safe switch out. Opponent answers with Gallade, and it's the non-shadow version actually, and that's just going to one-shot us, but we actually have a really nice farm down here with Pidgeot. Opponent is going to fire off the Glitch Combat, that's fine, we can just shield this up and go for the full farm down. Luckily that Gust doesn't care, and we get a very, very nice farm down. I think this was a bit of a greedy full send here. I think they're probably going to shield anyway. I'm going to go for one more Gust, and I'm able to get the catch of the Flame Charge onto my Quagsire. Obviously, I just thought it was going to be a fly, but even better, that's Flame Charge. Usually people run Double Nuke, but I'm surprised they're running this. I intentionally just go for the Aqua Tail. I want them to no shield. Opponent sends it in Tentacruel, and that's actually quite nice for us, as Stone Edge going to hit for massive super effective damage, and the opponent's now going to go for a move. Scald is going to take us out, and can we get a really nice farm down? Unfortunately, the opponent does go for the move. I kind of got to respect an Acid Spray anyway. Do they have a move? Oh, they do. Otherwise, I think that Gust may have KO'd, but unfortunately, that's a GG's. In the next match, oh no. That's really, really bad. Oh no, that's even worse. This battle not going best so far. I just want to see a boom land. No, it unfortunately doesn't. The opponent, that's pretty much the most damage I've ever seen a fast move do. We're completely in shambles at this point. I don't think there's anything we can do to save this pretty doomed game. I'm just going to play it out as best as I can. Going to go for the Mirror Shot. The opponent is going to shield that up. And the opponent makes it to another move. I kind of have to shield here, as one confusion would pretty just destroy our Machamp. Opponent sends in Clodsire. I just kind of wanted to see how much a double resist Wild Charge would do. Nothing. Okay, that's kind of sad. I'm going to send in Machamp. Opponent's probably like, just give up already. Opponent gonna go for the Stone Edge bait to add insult to injury. Rub salt in the wound. That's going to be a GG's, as I don't think we can come out of this game at all. And no, I'm not just like, this game is doomed. No, it really is doomed. Very, very doomed. Alright, and that's a GG's. Kind of wanted to see the third Pokemon, but that's completely fine. In the next match, we see a pretty bad lead into Weekly Tough. Kind of got to stay in here, and I am going to go for the Mega Horn. It is resisted, but I kind of want to go for the Mega Horn more than going for the Body Slam, as we will make it to a Mega Horn and a Body Slam, but I don't think we make it to 3 Body Slams. But it's going to go for the Swift to take us out, and I'm going to bring in Togedemaru and just boost our attack and take this chance to just completely get a really nice farm down and also boost. I'm going to completely undercharge this just so we can get a farm down, and I'm going to shoot up the Swift, as even though it wouldn't do much damage, kind of got to preserve health at this point. But it comes in with Ferrothorn, and this is actually quite nice, as even though Wild Charge is resisted, it'll do so much damage. I go for a bait, that's completely fine that they shield it, they no-shield it, but has a power up here, it's probably going to KO, so I do elect to shield it up, and I'm firing off the Wild Charge when I'm close to back. Opponent no-shields it, that does so much damage, and in the back it's a Morpeko. But a 2-shielded Morpeko, I don't think we can get there, unfortunately. Felstinger does a lot of damage, they call the bait, oh my goodness. That definitely would have KO'd if it wasn't the bait. Very, very bold play from the opponent, and I don't think we can win this game unless somehow we get a very nice farm down, and I'm still running Seed Bomb, as I was trying to surprise some Gastrodons and some Mud Boys before. But anyway, that's a GG's, unless they no-shield for the boys, I guess. Nope. Okay. That's the GG's, and yep. Thanks for watching.